This video is for Homework and Mastery 1.5, Dividing Whole Numbers and Whole Number Expressions. When we're talking about dividing, what we're wanting to do is separate our objects into equal parts. If you look at this picture, we have 8 objects, 8 stars, and we want to divide them into 2 equal parts, 2 equal groups, which will result in 4 objects in each group. So 8 divided by 2, we have 8 objects and we're dividing them into 2 groups. We have 4 in each group. 8 is considered our dividend, what we're dividing into the groups of. 2 is our divisor. How many groups do we want? 4 is our quotient. How many will be in each group? We can write it one of 3 ways. This is our horizontal way, this is a vertical way, and this is the way that we are used to seeing long division. We will continue using some of these. Again, we want to look at comparing the English phrase to the translation into symbols. Some key words that represent division would be divided by, quotient, divided equally, shared equally. So n divided by 6, as it is written in the English, is translated just as it says, n divided by 6. The quotient of 7 and 35 is written the same way that you see it, 7 divided by 35. The quotient of 35 and 7, 35 divided by 7. Notice that these appear in the same order that they are written. This is going to be extremely important because I will go ahead and tell you division is not commutative. Just like subtraction was not commutative, division is not commutative also. 15 items divided equally among 5 groups. That's 15 divided by 5 because we want 5 equal groups. 15 items shared equally among 5 groups. That again is 15 divided by 5. We're going to divide them into 5 groups. Let's look at a couple of examples and see how you can do it. Translate each English phrase using numbers and symbols. The quotient of 26 and 2. The quotient of 3 and 24. The answers to these are written here. The quotient of 26 and 2 is written as 26 divided by 2. The quotient of 3 and 24 is written 3 divided by 24. Now let's look at some rules that we want to abide by whenever we look at division, especially involving the numbers 1 and 0. Any non-zero number divided by itself is 1. What this means is I'm taking the entire group and dividing it into that many equal groups. I have 6 pieces of pizza and I have 6 people. How many slices does each person get? That's 6 divided by 6. Each person gets 1 piece. Any number divided by 1 remains unchanged. This means I'm taking my objects and putting them into one group. How many items are in that one group? Well, I have 6 pieces of pizza again. There's only 1 of me. So how many pieces of pizza do I get? I get all 6 pieces. 0 divided by any number the result is always 0. The reason for this is because I have 0 objects. I don't have any pieces of pizza, but I've got 7 friends. How many pieces of pizza do they get? They don't get any. They still get 0. I started out with 0. I end up with 0. So if I start out with 0 and I'm going to divide it into groups, my answer is going to be 0. Number 4 always gives us a problem. 0 can never be the divisor in a division problem. What this means is I can't take a number and divide it by 0. I have 7 pieces of pizza, but I don't want to divide it. That's not possible. The smallest amount that I could have if I start out with 7 pieces of pizza is 1. I divide it equally into 7 pieces. I cannot divide it by 0. That is considered an undefined possibility. So let's look at some examples. 0 divided by 12. This is like I have $0 and I have 12 friends. How much does each friend get? They get nothing. Each one of them gets $0. On the other hand, if I have $12 left over when I die, how much does each person get? I can't do it if I don't have anybody to leave it to. Somebody either gets all of it or none of it. I cannot divide it by 0. There has to be a place for it to go. That is why it's considered undefined. Part C says 21 divided by 21. This is where, again, I have $21 and I have 21 bills. So how much do I pay to each bill if I want to pay them equally? I pay $1 to each bill. Let's look at some examples where we're going to do long division and see what happens. Divide 128 divided by 5. Remember, what we're doing is we're taking this number on the outside and seeing how many times does it go into the number on the inside. How many groups can we take that 128 and divide it into 5? How many pieces will there be? First question is, how many times can 5 go into 1? Can 5 go into 1? No. 5 cannot go into 1. So if it can't go into 1, I skip over to the next number. How many times does 5 go into 12? 5 can be divided into 12 2 times. What I do next is I take 5 times 2, multiply these two numbers, and write my result here, 10. Then I subtract 12 minus 10, and I get 2. I bring down my 8, and now then, I'm going to take, how many times does 5 go into 28? Well, it'll actually go 5 times. 5 times 5 is 25. Do my subtraction, and I get 3. Can 5 go into 3? No. Do I have another number to bring down? No. So 3 is actually going to be my remainder. And I write it 25, remainder 3. Do not put a decimal there. You always put the letter R, capital R. So the answer is 25 with a remainder 3, or 25 R3. Let's try another one but this time with double digits. Divide 1,452 divided by 30. Okay. Can 30 go into 1? No. 30 can't go into 1. Can 30 go into 14? No. 30 can't go into 14. So, how many times does 30 go into 145? It'll go 4 times. Multiply my 4 times 30, and I get 120. Subtract 145 minus 120, and I get 25. Notice, whenever I do my subtraction, this number is always less than this number. That's very important. If this number becomes larger, you did something wrong. Okay, you need to go back and look. Your remainder right here always has to be less than the number you start out dividing by. Bring down your 2. And now then, how many times can 30 be divided into 252? It'll actually go 8 times. And wherever I take 8 times 30, I get 240. Take 252 minus 240, and I get 12. Well, 30 does not go into 12, and I do not have anything else to bring down. Therefore, my final answer is going to be 48, remainder 12. Let's look at a word problem using this type stuff. 26 students in Ellis High School entered their class project in a contest sponsored by the Falls City Baseball Association. The class won first place and received 250 tickets to the baseball playoffs. The teacher gave each student in the class an equal number of tickets, then donated extra tickets to the local Boys and Girls Club. How many tickets were donated to the Boys and Girls Club? Okay. We first need to look at this and say there were 26 students and 250 tickets. So we need to split the 250 tickets evenly among the 26 students. So when we do that, we want to do the long division. 250 divided by 26. You can do this on your paper. When you do, hopefully you will come out with the answer 9, remainder 16. That means that each student received 9 tickets. There were a remainder of 16 tickets. That remainder is what was donated to the local Boys and Girls Club, because the original question said the teacher donated the extra tickets to the local Boys and Girls Clubs. How many tickets were donated to the Boys and Girls Club? So my final answer would not be my 9 remainder 16. My final answer would actually be my 16 tickets were donated. When you're looking at these word problems especially, make sure that you're going back and answering the final question. You may have done the math correctly, entered an answer, but not gotten the question correct. You're not sure why. Go back and ask yourself, did I answer the question correctly? Was I answering what the question actually asked for? And you might see where you made a mistake. Sometimes it's a common subtraction error, addition error, things like that. Always check back over your work. Again, this is a section that you are not allowed to use your calculator on, so please make sure that you know your multiplication tables, know how to multiply, add, and subtract. This is showing you the division. What I'm trying to do is actually show you and help you learn different study skills, as well as develop different ways of thinking of things and problem-solving skills. It's really not to just be mean. It is more of problem-solving skills is what I'm trying to teach you here. If you have questions, need help, again, please feel free to ask one of us.